and welcome to Tabletop In. Please join me at the tavern table while I take a first look and do an unboxing of Magnate the First City. Magnate the First City is a city building game for 1 to 5 players. The playtime is about 60 to 120 minutes and it's for ages 10 and up. If you care about that, you know your kids better than anyone. When I first saw this game, the first thing that caught me were the components when I was looking at videos of my own. And I was just so excited to really dig into this game. Another interesting feature that this does is it has a tutorial deck more so than a rule book. Not sure if it actually has a rule book in there. I kind of hope it does because I'm worried the tutorial deck may not be enough. But let's find out for ourselves. Let's go ahead and dive into this box, shall we? So the first thing I want to note on this game is the size of the box is huge. Now I've got some pretty tiny baby hands, but still, the game is massive. It's probably one of the bigger boxes that I have. Second only to maybe Merchant's Cove. It's a pretty big box too. Something to note, when I bought this game through a miniature market, and it actually came with a promo that I don't remember reading about on the listing. It's a couple of punch outs here. Look like they're 100K markers, not sure what they mean. One popped out, indie game publisher, game distributor, board gamer. So I think these are tenants right here. Game cafe are businesses here. Game distributor, which is a factory, and indie game publisher, which is I'm guessing it's like an office building of some sort. I want to go ahead and dive into this first because it's most interesting to me, mainly because I didn't know that this was coming with any kind of promo. So here we've got a Magnate, the board game economy. Excuse me. Bring the board gamers to your city with 4 new tenant subtypes. Components: 1 rule card, player aid, 4 new tenants cards, 3 game cafe tenants tokens, 3 board gamer tenant tokens, 1 game distributor tenant token, 1 indie game publisher tenant token. So yeah, it's basically just some new tenants that you can bring into your city. Let me try to get this plastic peel off here so we can take a look at some of the cards. There we go. They're free. Good. Very tight packaging. So there's the, I think this is just a promo card explaining what's in here and a little bit of the setup. It's saying the setup, so this is basically for advanced tenants, supposedly. Set up a game for advanced tenants as normal. You can only use this promo when playing with advanced tenants. Don't add the promo tenants to the city, center, or available tenants area during setup. Shuffle the promo new tenant cards with the rest of the new tenant deck. So yeah, basically just, so when you're playing an advanced variant, you're just gonna add these cards, it looks like. So it also has the player aid here, which is nice. So yeah, the homes are board gamers, the offices are the indie game publisher, the game cafes are retails, and industries, game distributor. Provides a double neighbor bonus for adjacent retail buildings. So I'm guessing that's for the, looking for the star, oh, for the homes, yep. So the star is up on this corner, the camera's not focusing very well, there it goes. So the star is right here, and I was reading from the bottom here. So basically, homes that are next to a game cafe are going to generate better revenue because, hey, gamers like to be next to game cafes. Those are nice. I want to open one day. So yeah, the cards are very nice. They've definitely got the, I believe it's called Spot UV. Same as the Everdell cards, basically. They're really nice. I love these style of cards. They feel very durable. Feel like they're going to stay flat no matter how much you really bend them. Excuse me. New tenants, I'm not sure what any of this means yet, but very nice looking cards. Looks like the iconography is fairly simple. Just gonna need to actually figure out what the iconography is. So there's the cards anyway, and then we've got the tiles, the how they refer to them, tokens. So I'll go ahead and pull these out. One's already punched out, which is kind of nice. I don't like punching out things a whole lot. I just have bad experience with them. So here's the indie game publisher token, if the camera will focus. It won't, but that's okay. So basically it's just 600K, an arrow pointing down for 3 players. I don't know what that means, or 3 people. I don't know if that means 3 players or just 3. I don't know what that means. So I'm punching out the rest of these tokens now so we can get a good look at them. So there's only one of the board game publisher. There's only one of the game distributor there. That book is very good. So there's only one of this card, or token, excuse me. One of the indie game publisher. There are 3 board gamer houses, and then 3 game cafe tokens. So game cafe retail spaces. So nice. I like that a lot. Again, I didn't know that this promo was coming with it. I didn't see it on the website, but I could have easily have missed it too. So keep that in mind. If your game doesn't come with it, I don't know what to tell you. So on to the big behemoth of a box. I'm kind of excited for this now. Let's get this, move these things off to the side, and I'm going to try to open this box as best I can. It's got that new game tightness to it. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the game was published by James Naylor. And initially, let's go ahead and shove this off to the side for a moment. Excuse me. I do like the artwork on the box. It's really nice. The colors are really good. I like the depth of everything. A little bit of details here and there. But it's still really nice. I like there's little reflections on the windows here. Really nice. Nothing on the inside. Only thing different really on the top is it says the Magnate, the property game for the 21st century. So really nice. Go ahead and slide that off to the side there. Obviously get into the big part here. So first off, we've got I believe this makes up the map that you make, the game board. I don't know, I believe that you shuffle these and then place them out randomly, but I don't know. Go ahead and pry open this plastic and take a look. A lot easier to manage than the plastics around the promo cards. Interesting. So right off the bat, fairly thin these boards. Here's one just to show a little bit of the thickness of them. Not very thick. They don't feel bad, but I wouldn't have minded if they were a little thicker because these boards are obviously going to get a lot of use. And if you do shuffle them, you know, you're going to have to just be really careful with them as far as not nicking in the corners or anything. Wow, I'm never going to be able to pronounce this name ever in my life. So I'm just going to see if the camera will focus. There you go. There's the name of this. I believe it's more of like a district. Yeah, I won't be able. That's Nature Reserve. We got a train station. Halestown, got Ridgeway, Matthews Yard, Morrill Grove, Municipal Airport, a little airport off to the side. The train station probably had a train on it. Yep, a little train station here, that's cool. Municipal Airport is here again. Lindo, neat, and it looks like a little park right here. Container port, so a little port off to the side here. And then I think this must just be a central piece because it's got arrows on all sides of it. So really nice. I like the artwork on the boards as well. So there's a little park right here with a pond that looks really cool. This is the Nature Reserve. The train station we've already looked at. Halestown. Not much right now, but obviously we're going to be developing this town, so that's the point here. A little bit of a factory area down here. That's a boost, I believe, for factory. This is if you're placing residents around here, they'll get a boost because they're next to nature, and everyone likes to be next to nature. Retail space boost right here because they're next to a parking lot. Industry bonus right here. Not sure why, but I wonder if it's just because there's a lot of flat land here. Oh no, this is a little plaza. Okay, that makes sense. So there's a little plaza, and right around here you've got your office buildings. That's cool. Looks like a little basketball court area, a little bit of a small park. Get a boost for your for residents and retail around there. So that's really neat. Got the airport right here. Residents don't like to live next to the airport because they're loud, but industry likes to be next to them because if you have business people traveling in, they don't have to go far from the airport. Looks like right here on the bottom is another fairly sizable. It looks like a parking lot, but I wonder if that's also kind of like a warehouse right here because the retailers and industry both get a boost from it. So that's neat. Lindo looks like just a regular district, mainly for residents. Was the best place to put them. You believe you can put anything on any of these, but obviously you want to get the boost. from the land tile itself. So you don't want to be putting businesses right here unless you're forced to. Container port, obviously retail likes to be here because they can get their shipments faster. And then the central district doesn't look like any kind of bonuses here. So we'll have to see what all these, what all the letters mean and if that actually does anything. A little bag of salt, don't need that. Let's go ahead and put these off to the side here. Big rule book. Don't open this rule book just yet though. Whoops, hit the camera, excuse me. So Humbleburg is the name of this city we're building into. Humbleburg was a sleepy place not far from the big city. With its wide, clean boulevards, friendly neighborhoods, and open green spaces, it had long been a haven for commuters looking for the quiet life. Year after year, its most prosperous residents, wealthy enough to buy their way in or lucky enough to inherit, had fought off any attempt to disrupt its exclusive, idyllic existence by blocking all development of any kind. Then, at last week's council meeting, everything changed. In a unanimous decision, the council announced they'd dropped all zoning laws and opened up the city to unrestricted development. The moment the shocked gasps of everyone in attendance had finished echoing around the council chamber, every PA, assistant, and junior executive in the property business raced to contact their boss. It's on. That's pretty neat. I like that little backstory to what exactly is going on here and why the city hadn't already been developed. Do not open this rulebook yet. If you are playing Magnate for the first time, we recommend using the game's tutorial deck. It will teach you how to play as you play your first game with almost no use of the rulebook at all. If you enjoy learning games by reading rulebooks cover to cover, feel free to go right ahead and do that instead, but we strongly recommend the tutorial deck for most players. However, we do not recommend it for solo play. To start, simply unseal the tutorial deck, draw the top card, and start reading it out loud. It will guide you from there. Do not shuffle the tutorial deck. You'll need to put it back in the numbered order if you do. So, I mean, that makes sense. You don't want to shuffle the tutorial deck because the tutorial deck is going to go through everything you need to do. That's neat. I like that. I might crack open that rulebook here in a minute anyway, but I'm going to find that tutorial deck first before I do that, just to, make it so I'm not purposely going against my overlords here from Humbleburg. Looks like we've got the... I was going to try to pull it out, but I'm going to figure that out while I look at the game board. So we've got the AI board. So this game does have a solo variant. You can also use this board in your regular game as well. So if you maybe only are playing with 2 players, but you want to get that 3-player experience, you can add in that AI player. Or I believe that adds a little bit of a challenge as well, having this AI player. So here we go. So we've got... we've got AI property holdings. So we've got built-on plots, unbuilt plots, bit amount. So we've got a bunch of, this is the AI level. So basically the difficulty. Ooh, I like this. That's a nice back right here. A little brain, one side being a regular brain, the other side being like a circuit board. That's really cool. I like that a lot. So we'll put that off to the side. Most likely won't be using it unless I decide to do the solo variant, but we'll see. Here is, I believe, let's see. So there's 2 of these. Oh, I see. So this one is I believe it's kind of like a sideboard to the main board. It's showing, I believe this is going to show the land price for everything here. It's going to show the crash track. So the idea of the game is we're working to build up the city and make use of the booming economy before it eventually crashes. It will crash. There's no way we can stall it, but there's no way to stop it. That's the end of the game, is the economy crashing basically. So that's a little doom and gloom, but whatever. We got round tracker at the bottom here. Got so basically this just lets you know how to follow the round basically, and then you do prepare for next round where you do these actions, whatever they may be. You got available tenants up here. I believe you stack the tokens above these arrows here. Advertising spend, I have no idea what that means. Plot sold by players, again, don't know what that means. Land zone price and remaining tenants. So the difference between the 2 boards here is this one is for 3 players and this one is for 5 players. It looks, so a couple of differences on here. There are obviously more tiles on the plot sold by players area. I'm looking at the numbers here, see if there's any major differences. The only one I can see is let's see where I saw it. Well, the big major difference is the plots here. I think that's actually the biggest difference from what I can see. Oh, on the bottom corner here, we've got ×4, whatever this is, and ×5 of the for sale markers versus ×3 and ×3. So that looks like the biggest changes as far as the boards go. Oh, here we go. On the back, we've got 2 and 4 players as well. So that's pretty cool. So double-sided sideboards, I'm going to call them. So nice. Again, the iconography is most likely going to be simple. I just have to learn it. Here we have some dreaded punch boards. The punch boards probably aren't bad. I just don't like punch boards in general. I don't like doing it because I'm always just terrible at it. Got little dice markers here, which are really neat. And then a lot of these. Got a bunch of 1A. I'm assuming those are going to correspond with the game board there because they obviously had the letters. And then I don't think any of them had numbers, but I wonder if that's just the numbers are signifying what square they're going to go on. Apologize for my runny nose. It is that time of the year and it's cold. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first one. More of the tiles like we saw in the promo. We've got professional couple all along the top row here. Students all along the row except for the last 2, which are still professional couple. There are actually 4 more students right here on this row. We've got convenience store. So convenience store here, and then all the way on this row here, and then a random restaurant right here. This one comes down and goes all the way over as well. Then it actually comes down on this side and comes over too, and then we have boutiques right here. So a lot of different variety of different stores. Not too much variety of the different residences, but there might be more tiles on the pile that we haven't looked at. So we'll go ahead and put this off to the side. I see the thing that I'm most excited about, but I'm gonna hold myself back. We've got these tiles. I don't know anything about these. I'm guessing these have something to do with the AI because they have the same really cool symbol on them as the AI player board did. So nothing different on the back. I didn't check the tokens, but I'm assuming there's nothing different on the back of these as well. Ah, there is. Prove me wrong. So they all just say home now on the back of the resident cards. They don't say what they are, and then all the back of them just say of these stores just say retail. I'm guessing that these are the cost. There's 300K on each one. Let me get a close-up of these. So it says 300K on each one. This one has a bonus next. I'm assuming if it's built next to an office building, there's a bonus. We'll get a close-up on the fronts of these professional couples here. So it looks like you get a bonus if they're next to retail. The convenience stores get a bonuses if they're next to residence and office. And then restaurants get a bonus if they're next to retail. Boutiques get no bonuses, it looks like, neither do the students. Because students can't do anything. See if it'll focus. It won't, but that's okay. The students, they look just like the professional couple. It just says students and they cost 100K. So that's cool. Need to pay attention to these apparently. Looking at these, we do have some more tokens. We've got family tokens. That one focused really good. They go all along here, more resident tokens. We've got warehouses along this top row here. And then we've got a chemical plant along the second row and a small factory along the third row. So we've got 4A and 12 of the industries. We've got more boutiques right here, so that rounds out the number of boutiques. And then we've got call centers. Got call centers, which is the row of 4 for the offices. Another row of 4 of law firms, and another row of 4 of tech companies. A bunch of offices, basically. Got a this thing, which I have no idea what it is, but it looks interesting. And then you've got a little punch out of a cement truck. That's pretty cool. So nice. Then we're coming over here. We've got a bunch of for sale tokens. Literally, this whole board is basically just for sale, with the exception of some of these megaphone tokens down here. Don't know what they mean yet. But then on the back, we've got the I'm assuming signifying what tile is actually for sale, but not sure just yet or what you're buying. And then we've got some dice tokens or dice markers on the back of the megaphone tokens. There are a pack of dice in the box. We'll get to those in just a second. So really nice. I do like the quality of these punch boards though. They feel really thick. The tiles feel really nice, so I'm excited for that. I always like it when punch boards or things that you need to punch out are really thick and nice, because I've had an experience where I believe it was Fantastic Factories when I was trying to punch those out, the cardboard or the paper started to peel off of the actual tokens themselves, and it just drives me nuts when that happens. So maybe there's a reason why I don't like punch outs sometimes. Looks like this right here. Nice little insert that I'm guessing are going to be for the tokens. Really nice. I love that. One of my huge pluses, and this game's already kind of gone somewhat above and beyond that. We've got a bunch of baggies here. We'll throw those off to the side for now. We hopefully won't need them. But a huge plus side for me is when a game actually goes to the effort of putting in a good insert. Whenever there's no insert in a game, especially in a game that's so heavy on cards, which this game is very heavy on cards, I hate that there's no insert, because there's just no way to effectively store it without there being a mess. So coming back to Magnate, here is the tutorial deck. The cards are interesting. I've never really seen, I believe these are tarot card size. They're huge. So let's go ahead and once again, my horrible affinity with plastic, let me try to get these unwrapped so we can take a look at this tutorial deck. We've got here's the first card on the tutorial deck. So it reads as follows. What's Magnate the First City about? At Magnate the First City, you're a tycoon trying to make as much money as you can in a citywide property boom. Each round, you will take actions to buy valuable plots of land and construct buildings on them. Each following round, you will get a chance to move rent-paying tenants into your buildings. The better located these properties are, the more chance you'll have of attracting these tenants. You can use this rental income, from these tenants to reinvest in buying more land and buildings. However, land prices are also going to rise through the game, so at some point you will make more money from selling your buildings altogether than you make in rent. Money that can also be further reinvested in ever more ambitious schemes. But beware, this boom is unstable. It will eventually turn to bust in a game-ending market crash. Any property left unsold will now be sold for a fraction of its original value, and the player with the most money is the winner. Cool. So that's the idea, is we're trying to make as much money as we can before the stock market or the market crashes. And if you have, like the card said, if you have buildings left over, then you sell them at a half cost, I believe is what it is. So basically the idea is if you can predict when the market's going to crash, you want to sell all of your buildings right before that happens. Oh, I read this out of order. Sorry. So how this tutorial will work. Welcome to Magnate's interactive tutorial. This deck will teach you how to play the game with minimal use of a rulebook by taking you through a couple of scripted rounds of play. Okay. For a successful tutorial, each card in this deck must be read aloud and clearly so all players can follow. Please make sure all instructions on cards are followed, that components are as described. A full components list with images is available on page 2 of the rulebook, and that the players understand what each card is saying before moving on. Important warning, if you don't follow the above advice, or you try to skip sections or preempt how something works, you are at a much higher risk of making mistakes. This means your tutorial will be more confusing and take much longer to complete. Once you're done with the cards, simply discard it in a pile next to the tutorial deck so you can look at it again easily. So I do know that this game is fairly heavy, so I think whenever me and my friends do go to play this, we will go through this tutorial game first, but it is a fairly huge tutorial deck. So, but I think for the sake of us being able to understand it, having this tutorial game is actually really nice. I like that a lot. You know, and it does say that if you want to go through, with just reading the rule book, you can, but I do like the addition of those this deck because some people don't like to read rule books. So, very nice. Opening up this... Oh my, what are these? They're sealed. Interesting. So there are a bunch of envelopes here. The Humble Foundation. Oh, I understand. These are wallets. So you keep your money secret from everyone. So this is player wallets. So each player is representing a different property firm, and these are all the different property firms. So you've got the Humble Foundation, get them all stacked up here properly. Got the Humble Foundation, Vector Properties, Your Home, nice, Grayfield, and Penforth Davy. Really nice, all the different colors on these as well. Looks like the backgrounds are just the same with the exception of a different color scale on each one. So, and the artwork is also basically just the same as the front of the box. So really nice, I like that a lot. Again, saving these for last, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these cards over here. Looks like we've got the AI deck here. I'm probably going to leave this wrapped because I don't think I'm going to be using it a whole lot. But we've got the AI action is buy one. Let's go ahead and just open them up. I was going to hold off because this thing is freaking shrink wrap, but whatever. So if you're interested in an AI game, I'm betting this one's going to be really good, but definitely going to be one that is probably going to take, you know, time to learn, especially if you're on your own, you don't have anyone to kind of talk through the rules with you. So keep that in mind. It is a fairly big game. So you got the AI action, buy one, buy land, another AI action. So it's just going through the different actions that the AI are going to take during their turns. And I'm guessing this deck needs to be shuffled before you use it. So a couple of aids for what happens if like if something's tied with the AI. AI sells leftmost holding with a building, adjust value, yeah. So basically just the different actions that the AI is going to take, and basically just help you kind of hold your hand through the game while you're playing with an AI. Go ahead and put those back in the box. Here we've got a new tenants deck. This is usually whenever you're going to be playing with the advanced variant, this is the deck that you're going to shuffle the board gamers cards into. So that'll be really fun. A lot easier to turn into this one than the promo cards, but it's probably because it's a bigger deck. So here, basically they look similar to the promo cards, with obviously the exception of just the being basic industries, what the subtypes are. So you've got the basic offices and what their subtype is, tenants and what their subtypes are. Really nice cards. The basic retail with their subtypes. Really nice. More tenants. Looks like this is where things are getting a little more advanced in this back half of the deck here. So really nice cards, about the same quality as the promos. They're a little different, I believe. The promos do have more of a textured feel to them, kind of like the Everdell cards, while these ones are a little more smoother. So that's a little interesting. Let's see the backs here. New tenants, just on all of these. Let's make sure that there's not too much of a different color scheme on these promos. So the backs do feel similar, so that's good. You aren't going to go like draw the card and immediately know that it's one of the promo cards. Unfortunately, I tore up the corner a little bit trying to get the stupid plastic wrap off, so that's a little unfortunate. So make sure you keep these separate. Very nice. Nice cards nonetheless. Okay, so the next deck we're going to go over is the Risk deck. I took the liberty of taking it out of the plastic wrap before I started this section because that's really painful to watch. So this Risk deck is how the market crash track that we saw on the sideboard is going to go up. So I believe these cards are shuffled. Post-crash price drops, so this also talks about the price drops that come. I believe these cards are drawn at the end of each round. It's either the end of each round or when a player does a certain action. So really nice cards. You got I think that's I thought it was a bear at first, but I think it's like a panther or a cat or something. So interesting. If that's not either of those things, obviously it's not a cat, it's a big cat, I mean. But if it's not either of those things, sorry. I'm not a zoologist, animalologist, whatever they're called. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all these back in the box so I don't lose them. Really big area for something right here. I'm not sure what it's for yet. So here we've got a couple packets of tiles. I believe these are going to be land tiles that are going to go on top of the board, the main board. So it looks like we've got like a parking lot, looks like a container storage area. believe. Oh yep, here's a big parking lot with an empty concrete plot of land. So these are all these are all industry cards, tiles, excuse me. A little bit of appealing on this one. I don't know if I did that or if it came like that. The coloration's also slightly different on some of these, it looks like. So that's interesting. Take the wrap on this one. Looks like this one has some offices. There we go. So again, more concrete land with parking lots. Then looks like it's a +1 for office buildings here, but similar, just a concrete plot. Instead of a parking lot though, you just have a little side street that jets out into it. So really nice. I like these tiles. They feel really good. Go ahead and pull out these two here. So I believe this is going to be residential tiles. So it looks like we've got a long driveway, looks like a nice garage, and then a place where you're going to be putting these houses. That's really nice. All the same. Oh, here's a big one. Here's a big house. I believe this is for an apartment complex with a nice little fountain right here. That's nice. Neat. All the same, all the same, all the same. These are all the same. Cool. So that was the residential tiles, and then last but not least, we've got the retail tiles. So we've got a parking lot right here on the front with a large concrete area for the retail buildings. Another one, the same, they're the same, just different orientation. Here's one for a bigger retail space with a bonus on it. Nice. All right, so these are the tiles that I assume we'll be using to build onto the actual main board. A little bit of a snug fit, which is strange. We'll get that fixed in a minute. Oh, I see. There's a little bit of a divider in the box. This insert's nice. I like this insert a lot. It's just gonna tear up my pieces because I'm not paying attention. So far, +1 on the insert. Really nice. Good design. So now we're getting to the part that some people may like and or hate. Paper money. It's been a while since I've really messed with paper money on anything. They feel really nice. Definitely better than Monopoly money, which is actually the only thing I really have to go on as far as paper money goes in games. So definitely band it up tight. I'm probably not gonna be able to get this band back on once it's off, which is a little unfortunate. So hopefully this insert does a good job of keeping them in there. There are little divots in this insert. Oh, it actually comes out, so that's kind of neat. There are little divots in here to place this money in, so they just slide in fairly well. They do stand up fairly nicely too. So nice. So go ahead and try to get this band off here without tearing things up too much. So the lowest value money you can have is 100K. Man, if only it were that nice. So we got Bank of Magnate, the 100K, nice little M right here in the middle. $100,000, it shows exactly how much is on the bottom. Nice little signature. That is actually the, looks like that's the game developer signature, excuse me, that's nice. And then on the back, in games we trust, I love that. That's awesome, I love this, I love these, that's cool. Don't know who these guys are, if they're anyone important, I have no idea who they are. That's actually James Naylor, we'll see. There's looks like there's some other names on these, this money right here. So it is, so I place these back into the insert and they do actually sit fairly well. So that's really nice. They'll also be good for like a bank area. So the next value up is $200,000. So we're going in 100,000 or take a $100,000 jump here. This also says James Naylor as a signature, but it is a different person. Bank of Magnate. So it's essentially the same, just a picture, different picture in Games We Trust with the Lincoln Memorial there on the back. So I'm assuming what's supposed to be the equivalent of Lincoln Memorial. So that's really nice. Really, I do like these. They feel good. They don't feel like the really cheap Monopoly They don't feel like cheap Monopoly money. Next value up is 500K with a picture of a woman on there, still the signature of James Naylor. They get these notes are getting bigger each time the value goes up. Then you got the that's supposed to be the White House? Don't know, whatever that is. So you got that building on the back. So really nice. And these are fitting very well into the divider here that was brought with the insert. Really nice. Next jump up is $1 million. This one has a completely different design on it. So you've got the Make a Magnate big, you got the picture of a woman in the middle with In Games We Trust around the picture. That's really nice, with the small signature of James Naylor. And then on the back, this I believe is supposed to be the White House, so I don't know what the other one's supposed to be. Don't at me, I don't know buildings very well. So nice. And then after $1 million, we've got the big cojones, which is $5 million with a picture of a woman on the back. Same style as the 1 million though, just a different color with In Games We Trust around the portrait of the woman. And then we've got the Capitol building. You can see that one from a mile away. So really nice. I like these notes. They're good. I do like the kind of feel when you do like one of these, like you're really staking around fat stacks of cash here. So really nice. Very good on the notes here. Carefully try to put them back into the box without ruining everything. I about ruined everything. There we go. Cool. Yep, and it looks like they're going to be writing okay in there. Hopefully when we get this, there's a lid here. Hopefully when this lid gets put back on. Yeah, not quite, but... So this is just going to be one of those... Oh wait, this has got to go on there. So that'll hold them in there fairly well once you get everything put back on. Then everything gets closed tight. So really nice. So that's all for the side components here. Now we're going to get into the big stuff, the stuff that everyone wants to look at, even me. So to start off, we've got a bag of small die. Nothing too fancy about them, just 6-sided die. They're all about the same, they're just really tiny. So we'll set those off to the side. Actually, we'll just keep them right in here. How they were in there, I'll never know. They're gonna be, oh, interesting. A little bit of a, see through the plastic there. I don't know if that's like gunk on the die or if the die is faded. Let me see if we can get it out of the bag here before we move on. Okay, it's just a little bit of gunk. No big deal. Yep, clean die now. All clean. A little bit of I don't know if it was like production glue or something, whatever. So, no problemo. We're good, Captain. So, yep, just little 6-sided die, a bunch of them. Looks like there might be... I thought there was a certain amount per player, but I don't think there is. So, we'll just have to see what these die mean once we actually get into a game, eh? So, I'll figure out how to get those back in there in a minute. We've got a lone disc with its own little insert area, so this disc must be important. I'm betting this is to track the when the market is going to crash. So we'll make sure that that stays handy somewhere. First off, we've got a residential building. Let's take a look at this here. It feels really nice, really nicely textured. There's little details in the building that I don't think I'm going to be able to get to show. Oh yeah, it's showing up right there, little details in the shingles. Definitely not going to be able to see the details in the siding here, but there's a little siding here, there's windows and a door. Really nice, it feels really good. On the back here, a couple more little windows. Looks like that's a little hose holder right there where my thumb's at. That's really nice. And it's got a little chimney, so yeah, really nice. Then I believe these are going to be apartment buildings. More detail on those, which is really nice. Then a spot on the top that I believe are for these the tokens that we looked at earlier for the like the students, the gamers, things like that. So really nice detail on the apartment buildings as well. The insides are hollow, which is nice. Just helps with weight a little bit. Next, we're going to look at the retail storefronts here. My favorite part. See if we can get a good look at this here. The camera will focus. It's kind of focusing, isn't it? I don't camera very well. There it goes. There it is. So really nice on the storefront. Not as much detail as the buildings. They're just smooth sides. They're not like brick sides or siding sides or anything like that. Got a little door right here, which is nice. Little awning right here on the front with a banner where a sign would be. Also a little side store right here as well. So not as much detail. The top has a little bit more detail. It's got a little bit of like a textured top for ceiling. Little exhaust vents. There we go. Exhaust vents there on the side. Little exhaust vent right here for the side store. So still really nice though. Just not as much detail as on the apartment buildings and on the houses. So here we've got the smaller industry buildings. Looks like it's just mainly a warehouse with a big door right here and a man door right there. This does have a textured side, so it kind of looks like it has siding on it. Little banner here on the side that I probably won't get to. There it goes. Don't know if that's supposed to be a vent or if that's supposed to be, it looks more like a vent. I was gonna say it might be like a banner for a sign, but I think it's more of a vent. More doors, big door on the side, man door on the back, and then another vent on the side. So basically it's just the same thing on both sides, except with the exception of these, I'm assuming these are supposed to be more vents here as well. And then we've got big industry buildings, factory buildings. These are nice. I like these. Oh, these are little cars right here. There's little cars and trucks that are backed into docks. Oh, please focus. There we go. That's cool. I like that a lot. Got little exhaust vents here on the top of these buildings here, and more exhaust vents here. AC vents right here. The top is smooth on this building right here. However, this one does have a textured top, and this one also has a textured top with what looks like little skylights right here. That's nice. Textured side, textured front on this building right here. This building does have a textured side as well. Big doors on both of these buildings. I like this a lot. This is cool. Cool. Well, that's the big industry buildings, and that's actually all for this part of the insert here. Now we're going to get into some of the bigger retail areas and the bigger office buildings. So I'll keep that here. First off, let's go with the small office buildings. Nice little front part right here. The entrance is kind of tucked into this corner part right here. So let's see if we can get the camera to focus. Come on, you know you want to. Well, I won't wait for very long, it'll focus eventually. So the sides of this building are smooth, no textured of any kind on the sides. The top is textured, and we've got some little AC vents on the top here. Side here is smooth as well, side is smooth. So the only texturing on this piece is the top of it. Here's the entrance is finally coming into focus, so that's nice. I kind of like that the entrance is in the corner of the building though. It's just a neat design. Then we've got this big behemoth, which, good lord, this almost looks like a Superdome kind of thing. Not sure what, oh, haha, duh. It's like a PlayStation, you gotta be holding it up the right way. It goes like this, that's really cool. So it's an office tower. I like the detail on this with the crossing right here. The crossing right here, it's got a little bit of lines right here to signify a bunch of windows. Focus. Focus, it'll focus eventually. Got a helicopter pad right up here, which is nice. Some exhaust buildings up here. Some little vents right here that you can sort of see. Some junction boxes right up here on the top as well. And then this side here has just a bunch of lines on here that I assume are supposed to signify windows. So that's really nice. I like this. I thought it was supposed to be like this. I'm like, what kind of building is that? It is like this. It almost looks like a PS5, doesn't it? Don't know. I never got my hands on one. Then we've got big retail buildings. Basically a mall, it looks like. I'm looking for the door. So I will say, of all the buildings here, it's looking like this big retail space is probably the least detailed out of all of them. Here's the door right here. This one right here. Smooth side on pretty much all sides of this bigger building. There's a little bit of lining right here for windows, I believe. Got this little dome right here, which is really nice, and that's lined for a window feel or a window look to it. On the top, there's also another skylight right here. Junction boxes along the top right here, and then vents right along here. Definitely so far, this one has the weakest detail on all the parts, I think, so far. So kind of the same as the other, the smaller office buildings. You've got this thing. This might actually be indicating the crash, the marker crash. A little arrow pointing down. It's supposed to be standing up like this. I thought it was a lightning bolt at first. So there's that. And then the last part is this nice little, I believe this is a first player marker, and it's just this little backhoe, this excavator, which actually articulates, which is really cool. I like that. So it's metal from what it feels like. That's really nice. It's got little wheels on the bottom, so you can actually kind of roll it across the table. That's really nice. We've got Hercule written on the side here for the branding of the tractor. We've got PCTH600. That's really nice. The painting on here isn't bad. It's not terribly great, but it's not bad either. I don't know if it's supposed to if it's meant to look a little worn out right here, but there's a couple of parts where the paint's a little worn out. Again, don't know if that's intentional or not. Got the PC TH600 on the side and power, because you know these things are powerful. Not bad on this thing as well. My only, I guess, complaint, and it's just a little complaint, is the bucket itself does not articulate. It's just this the two joints on the arm. So not a huge deal though. This thing is literally just to signify, I believe, who the first player is in the game. So for just being a first player marker, that's really cool. All right. Why don't I go ahead and start putting this game back together, and we'll see how much of a pain that is, shall we? So first off, we've got this lid for the bottom buildings right here. You got this one right, the residence, the retail, and the industry building. Excuse me, a little bit of a brain fart here. Mainly because I'm trying to get these die to be back to the way they were when they were really nice and tidily put away in this box. You know what? I'm trying way too hard at this. There we go. Jeez, there we go. So the dice are all put away right in there. The whatever marker this is for is put away right there. And get the lid for this put right back in here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and off camera, so I don't embarrass myself, I'm gonna punch these out and try to sort them as best as I can. Next. 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 Break something. Okay, before I move on, I'm actually going to sort these into some baggies. So stand by while I get these baggies out. So I combined the office cards and the industry tokens, excuse me, the industry tokens and the office tokens. Basically give me 4 baggies because this next punch out has tokens that are of each player's own marketing or property firm. So had to get an extra baggie out of that. So back to punch boarding. There's something oddly satisfying but also oddly terrifying about doing punch board. Does anyone else ever get that feeling when you're doing punch boards? Like, this is so cool, new game, but then in the back of your mind you're also like, oh my god, new game, don't screw up the game pieces. Well, I can't count to save my life. There's 5 different tiles in here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have to combine these last 2. Won't be a big deal. In fact, I probably could just fit them all into 1 or 2 baggies, but c'est la vie. It doesn't matter. It'll be all good. There we go. Last of these property company tiles have been bagged. So we'll see if we can get them to go in here. And then we've got the special tokens for the promo that I think I'm just going to stick right here in front of the cards. Try to keep them separate. I believe, oh, of course, the wallets I can put right here. Oh, I'm so goofy. Hello? Durr. Let me rethink this here. Am I the sharpest tool in the shed? No, not all the time. I completely forgot about this one insert that I had off to the side. So I was trying to figure out how to get all these tokens to fit into baggies and like how the best way to organize them would be. And then I looked over and saw the insert. I'm like, oh, you big dummy, right there. Speaking of which, I didn't punch out the AI tokens, but I think I'm just gonna leave them unpunched for now. I'll punch them out later. Good news is though, I don't really have to use any of the baggies that came with it, which is nice because that means I'm just going to add them to my personal collection of baggies for future games that don't have the nice insert design that this game has. So let me go ahead and get everything cleaned up here. I'm going to go ahead and get everything boxed back up and closed up, and I'll go ahead and sit back down and give you my final thoughts on what I think about this game so far, just from looking at the components and everything. So first off, just by going through the game, the components are amazing. I mean, the only really real complaints I had with the components were the retail buildings. Both of them, even the bigger ones, seemed to lack the detail that the other ones had. Like the other ones had like lines on the side of the buildings to represent like shingles. They had the lines on the roof to represent the or not shingles. Shingles are going on the roof. Lines on the side to represent siding. Excuse me. But they still had the little details here and there, like the lines along the where windows should be. You know, they had those, so they kind of made up for it. But I was a little disappointed that everything else seemed so detailed, and it seemed like the retail ones were kind of thrown together last minute to me. Of course, that's my own personal opinion. I mean, they're all still great no matter what. It's just compared to the other components, they seemed a little lacking, I suppose. I really do like the inclusion of a tutorial deck for those that really don't like to go through the rule book and just read through the rules. Haven't decided yet if we're going to go through the tutorial deck or if we're just going to dive straight into the game. We'll find out. I would like to live stream this game, and if we do, we might go through that tutorial deck just to show what people can expect when they first open up this game and try to go through that tutorial game. Other than that, I mean, it's an amazing game so far. Great components. It seems like it's going to be fairly simple. There's just going to be a couple of things that are going to be a little hard to keep track of, but I mean, that's kind of the idea. Me and my friends like these really in-depth style of games that really makes you think about what your moves are going to be. A huge plus for me that I'm so happy about is the insert. Holy cow, I've never had so much fun putting a game back together from the base insert of a game. You know, even Viticulture, one of my favorite games, because it also has such a great insert. There was lacking in some points, mainly because there's spots for cards, which is great, different deck spaces for the meeples, which is awesome. But even with that, you still had to stack certain decks on top of each other. I know we had to do that with this, but the decks are so different, you can easily spot the differences between them on the side, so you can easily pick them out without having to worry about it. With Viticulture, they all had white borders, so really hard to keep those separated, and trying to get those separated when you pull them out is a little bit of a pain, but not really. As far as this goes, it's amazing so far. The insert is great. The components are really good. I like the inclusion of having the little wallets for each individual player. The money is great. I was a little concerned about paper money, but it's really not bad at all. I think it'll be just fine. Really, that's all I have to say about it. I can't really think of anything else besides I really can't wait to get into this game. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this was informative. I hope it answered some questions, and if there are any questions that I could try to answer for you, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If there's anything that I could have done better in this video, please feel free to also leave them in the comments. I know it wasn't great. This is actually one of my first videos of this style that I've done, but again, hopefully this helped you out. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay at the Tabletop Inn, and we'll see you next time. Take care.